Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning to those who are joining from the West Coast. My name is Caroline, and I'm so excited to have you all here today for our second webinar. We are going to get started. So for those who are trickling in, welcome, welcome, and we will get started. Okay. So I hope that some of you were able to join our first webinar where we talked about the 4 principles that encompass the STOP Award and the Yass Prize. For those who did not join that first webinar, I will send those out. But today's webinar is really a dive into all that is available to you as an applicant and as a semifinalist and potentially as a winner. So the title of this webinar is the Yass Prize is more than just a prize. And we're going to talk about some of those exciting features today. As I said, my name is Caroline. I am the Vice President of the Yass Prize, and I'm super thankful to be here with all of you. And my team and I have been working super hard. We've been so excited about the applications that have come in so far. And we're excited for those of you who haven't finished your application, but hopefully will finish soon. So excited to dive in today. Just an overview of the schedule for today. I'm going to give an overview of the award and the prize and where we've come from last year to this year. I'm going to talk about the accelerator, the Forbes partnership, and then we're going to get to our real MVPs, 3 of our 2021 STOP Award semifinalists from last year. They can probably say it better than me, the power of the accelerator and the power of this experience. So I'm excited to interview them in a little bit. And then I will definitely leave time for 3 short answer, I will definitely leave time at the end for some question and answer. And this webinar will wrap up today around 1:45. So the STOP Award was started last year in 2021. We are still very much in the thick of the pandemic, and Janine and Jeff Yass, who are 2 longtime benefactors and good friends to the Center for Education Reform, wanted to think through how to honor and advance and recognize the work of education providers who were not only performing for kids, but really outperforming, going above and beyond for kids during a time when a lot of schools were closed or a lot of schools were making excuses about why they couldn't do certain things for kids. And so this was a real recognition of those great pockets of inspiration, as well as an amplification forward. How can you use this funding and this experience to amplify and propel your work forward? I want to provide just a quick distinction. Last year we had the STOP Awards, but this year we have the $1 million Yass Prize, named obviously for Jeff and Janine Yass, and that's the $1 million, like the best in class award winner. So that award winner for this year will fully embody the 4 STOP principles, which I'll go over next. But then we have the 63 STOP Awards. And so the only thing that differentiates these 2 prizes or these 2 awards is the money kind of granted. So obviously the Yass Prize is the $1 million prize. And then the STOP Awards, the minimum award, if you were to receive one of those 63 awards, is $100,000. So while the Yass Prize has an exceptional value associated with it, the fact that you get $1 million, the STOP Awards are just as exciting because there's 63 of them. And it's not just, here's $100, the minimum prize is $100,000. And so we're really excited with both the Yass Prize and the STOP Awards to recognize 64 education providers across the United States this year. As I spoke about in our last webinar, these are the 4 attributes that make up the STOP Awards and the Yass Prize. So no matter what you were to win, these are attributes that we feel are really important because they have the power to drive change for every single child in our country. I'm going to briefly talk about them, but then I'm also going to send the webinar from last month, which really dives deep into these 4. But sustainable, we mean by that it can be funded independently without continual philanthropy by utilizing public programs that fund the entity where students are learning. For transformational, there's so many tools and approaches out there, but by transformational, we really believe that schools should employ these knowledge, this research, this technology in order to change the way students are educated, making sure it's rich in content and relevant. And so not just giving students iPads, but really doing something transformative with that iPad. For outstanding, we really believe that you can define, and you define for those reading your application how you believe you are outstanding. We know that different schools demonstrate success in different ways. And so we really want you to think about, what is your secret sauce? What makes you outstanding, and what makes you stand out from other schools and education providers? And last but not least, we have permissionless. We believe that the best schools require no permission and are free to exist and thrive without dependence on regulatory bodies, whose rules, unfortunately, are often at odds with, what parents want for their kids and what students deserve. So just a brief overview of our 4 short answer questions in your application will ask about each one of these. So again, if you weren't on the webinar last month, I would encourage you to watch that webinar as I dove a lot deeper into these 4 attributes. Today's focus, however, is thinking about all that comes with being a part of our community at the Yass Prize and the STOP Awards. And what I mean by that is we don't just write checks and say, good luck. If we did that, we wouldn't be living out our mission and our vision, which is to truly transform education for every child. And so by that, we have 3. These are just 3 of the many, but these are the 3 of the most important aspects that come with being a part of our community. So I'm going to talk about the accelerator, our partnership with Forbes, which is our media partner, and the alumni community. And as well as when I interview our 3 semifinalists, they're going to dive into these as well. So the accelerator. As I said, we're going to have 64 quarterfinalists that are going to be announced in the fall. From that group, we're going to then cut that group in half, and those are going to be our 32 semifinalists. Those semifinalists will be a part of our accelerator, which will happen 3 weeks before Thanksgiving and then the week following Thanksgiving. The accelerator, I want you to think about it as like a 4-week business boot camp with the focus to accelerate the awesome work that you're already doing and propel it forward. The accelerator consists of 3 weeks of virtual programming, 1 week of in-person programming that ends with our capstone pitches. So I'm going to talk through these 3 aspects of the accelerator now. So we'll start the accelerator with 3 weeks of virtual programming. Semifinalists will be on Zoom for about 5 hours in total each week for those 3 weeks. Last year there was like 1 2-hour session, another 2-hour session, and then usually a session on Friday that was about an hour. And the purpose of this virtual programming or this virtual accelerator is both giving knowledge to our semifinalists as well as inspiration. We bring in world-class speakers who deliver keynotes that help with instruction and insights and best practices. And again, the purpose is to give you all as semifinalists time to pause, think about what's going really well in your organization, and think about where you can learn and leverage these insights and these keynote takeaways in order to provide even more students with the education, or to further your strategic initiatives. Then the 3 weeks kind of all culminates into 1 week of in-person programming. And the 4 weeks in all have a really awesome curriculum that goes along with it. And it's not just about education. We provide access to speakers from the business world, speakers from obviously the education world, speakers from the editorial and communications world. And so it's not just about giving you access to the speakers that you might have already heard from, like at conferences, but different kinds of speakers that are there to provide feedback, provide networking opportunities, coaching to help you grow, and really thinking about whether your goal is to refocus your goals or redefine your goals or just amplify and move them forward at a quicker pace. So these are a couple of pictures from our in-person programming. We had, speakers that spoke to the group, and then we had lots of opportunities for informal connections, gatherings, networking to really bring, again, these 32 are the best of the best from all of the hundreds to thousands of applications we've received. And so we want you to all have access to each other in addition to the speakers that we're bringing in. And just to illuminate some of the topics that we discussed last year at the Accelerator, we partnered with ASU GSV to roll out the curriculum. And so some of the topics that were discussed and really went in depth on were, finances and who are your key stakeholders, how to have an entrepreneurship mindset, what are some business models and some growth strategies. How do you make your team or make sure that you have the best people on your team? And how do you create team culture, especially in education right now when retention of teachers is something that a lot of schools are really trying to tackle. And then obviously it culminates with pitching your organization. And we don't just say, get up to the podium and pitch, but we really provide coaching and around the pitch. What does your 10-minute pitch look like? What does your 3-minute pitch look like? What does your 1-minute pitch look like? And giving feedback along the way. So it's not just about the funding. It's really about this experience that brings together you all as semifinalists plus experts and keynotes who are there to just deliver the best experience for you all. And then we have the 3-minute capstone pitches. This is your opportunity to communicate all that you've learned in the past 4 weeks and deliver an awesome presentation about why you should deserve the $1 million. But while that is the focus, we also think that you can use this pitch to funders, to other people. So we're not pitching just for the sake of the Yass Prize, but this is really a skill that is a lifelong skill that's important to redefine, what was your pitch a year ago? What is your pitch today? And where is your pitch going? So this is Rob Levins from the Discovery Center of Springfield. He was our $1 million winner. Obviously, at the time that this photo was taken, he did not know he was pitching of why he should be the $1 million winner. But these pitches were fantastic, and there were some unique judges that watched all of them and then were able to decide a month later who our finalists were and who our $1 million Yass Prize winner was. If there's any questions that come up or if there's anything that you want to know more about, feel free to keep those in your mind. And at the end, I'm going to open it up to questions in the chat. So please feel free to keep thinking about questions. As I also mentioned, we have our media partner is Forbes. And with that partnership, we collaborate on 3 such things. First is we have access to their summits and their events that happen throughout the year and frankly all over the world. But a lot of the events we attend are in the United States. One such event that we attended last year was the Forbes 30 Under 30 list launch party, which happened in December, and that many of our semifinalists attended. And there was also a women's conference that happened that same week, where Vice President First Lady Jill Biden spoke at that event. So our alumni have access to attending those events that Forbes puts on. We also have a Yass Prize contributor page where we post from time to time articles that really speak to our mission and vision, which is, again, to transform education for every child in our country. And so as part of that, some people from our team write as part of the contributor page, but also we have some alumni voice in that page. And so if you are using this opportunity to do something, extra amazing or to propel your work forward, this would be a great opportunity to showcase that and publish your work on our contributor page. And then lastly, we have promotion. Forbes has millions upon millions of followers on social media. And so, for example, our semifinalists and our finalists and our award winner will be definitely highlighted on their social media channels. And the purpose of that is really to, continue to expand your work and to be recognized for the amazing things that you're doing for students. And then last, but certainly not least, in addition to the accelerator and the Forbes opportunities, you will join our alumni community. Our alumni community is 40 plus members strong right now. However, after this year, we'll have over 100 different members of our alumni community when we take our 2021 finalists and semifinalists, as well as this year's award winners. And when people talk about this community, I feel like Taylor Sheed from Stimuli says it really well, that this is a family. So there are collaborations that are happening among this group. There are multiple people within this group that are still talking to each other on a daily basis in terms of connecting with each other, connecting their ideas in order to make their schools better. And in this group are public school leaders, private school leaders, charter leaders, ed tech, nonprofit leaders, for-profit business people. So it's really a diverse group that is all approaching the same problem, but they're approaching it in different ways. And that's where that power of that collaboration really comes to a forefront of our work. So I'm excited for you. Some of these folks are on this call today. So I'm excited to hear from them, as well as will be invited to speak at the accelerator. And so you will hear from them and you'll be able to be welcomed into our community, our growing community. Just some logistical notes is that our applications are due on July 15th, 2022. This year, we will not be having a deadline extension. So please make sure by 11:59 Eastern time, you get your application in. You can work until then, but obviously we hope that you get it in before this deadline. And then, as I mentioned, late September is when our 64 quarterfinalists will be announced. Mid-October, we'll cut that group in half to our 32 semifinalists. And this is the group right here that will be going to the accelerator. And then we will have our 5 finalists announced and then our $1 million Yass Prize winner. However, I do want to make note that even if you don't make it to the accelerator, you're still a part of our community. You're still a part of our communications and our efforts, and you're still recognized appropriately. So, and even if you are not a winner or not a quarterfinalist, you will still have access to our community this year. And we're still working out those details, but please know that we don't want to just save our secret sauce for the 32, although it's a really exciting opportunity for them. But really, we want to recognize, everyone who we see doing amazing things for the students around the country. And with that being said, it is my pleasure to welcome Antonio Roca, Renee Johnson, and Christopher Simmons, who are all here with us today. These are 3 of our many semifinalists from last year. And I'm excited to interview them and ask them some questions, particularly about the accelerator experience and some collaborations that they've had since then. So I'm going to stop my screen share. Okay. And Antonio, Chris, and Renee, if you want to come off mute and off and show your face to the off camera, or on camera, I should say.
I think it doesn't allow us, Caroline, to turn off our video here.
Okay, let
Turn
me
on our video.
see. I remember this happened last time. Okay, while Margie is working, hopefully, Margie, there's a way for us to continue to think about, or if there's a way to get them on video. While we're doing that, we can dive in. So Antonio, can you start off? Can you tell us who you are, where you're from, and what you do?
Sure. My name is Antonio Roca. I work at Academica here in Miami, Florida, and help support a network of 200 charter schools around the United States and internationally with our dual diploma program overseas in about 28 countries. So we were lucky enough to be invited to the accelerator last year. And it was really a rewarding and valuable experience. We had submitted our application based upon our response, like many of my cohort partners did as well. Our response to COVID and the building of a platform called Collegia that connected our entire educational community together and allowed for real-time live instruction during all of COVID. We had all of our students, I think Margie came through. There we go. All right. We were able to use technology and leverage the opportunities to continue live synchronous instruction for our over 150,000 students in the United States, which attended class every single day, online, live, during COVID, and then later when we went to a blended model or a hybrid model where some of our schools, some students were attending physical brick and mortar campuses again, but some students were still online, and how to integrate those two experiences for our students and really continue that beyond that and take advantage of the opportunities that we learned during the pandemic.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for getting started and great to see your face. Thank you for joining. Okay, I'm going to bounce over to Renee. Renee, can you unmute yourself, tell us who you are, where you're from, and what you do? Perfect. Good to see you.
Hi. I hope you can all hear me well, and thank you so much for this opportunity to share. It has been a real privilege and an enjoyable experience participating in the STOP Award, and even the competition was a real learning experience. So we're here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The school is New Testament Christian Academy, and I saw something in the chat asking about can public or charter schools and even Catholic schools participate, and yes, a very diverse group. And so we are a Christian school in Milwaukee, and we're a smaller school, and on our application we shared that because of our size and our resources at the time, we were going to be going into virtual instruction because of a state mandate in Wisconsin, and we didn't have a lot of resources. So together with our curriculum director and one of our technology people, a plan was devised, and we ended up using cell phones to help our students access key information. And with that being said, the Lord blessed us. During our period of virtual instruction, our school rose in academics, and our teachers did some very targeted things to help that happen. But that was part of our application as far as the STOP Award. So it was a very, very rewarding experience in more than one way. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Renee. And last but not least, Chris, if you're there, please unmute yourself. Tell us who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
Yes, I am here. Hopefully we can unlock my video so they can see me. I'm from Miami, Florida, home of the should have been Eastern Conference champion Miami Heat, but I'm still licking my wounds from that, right, Mr. Roca?
Absolutely.
I'm the principal of Care Elementary School located here in Miami. We serve underprivileged, under-resourced students in a loving, nurturing Christian environment. When we opened in 2015, 11% of our students were reading proficiently. But as of, and Miss Allen, this is new info, as of Thursday, our score has risen even more from last year's standardized test scores. 76% are now reading proficiently. based on the standardized test results. So we are grateful. And listen, everybody, you got to get on this STOP Award. This is where it's at. I can't wait to talk a little bit more about this. Our friends here that we've built, the relationships that we've built, it's outstanding. And every person involved, especially the leadership, they guide you through it. So you don't have to be scared, all right? Just get in there and let's do this together and become one of our alumni.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris, Renee, and Antonio for getting us started. Oh, there you are.
Oh, there I am.
Perfect.
There I am.
There you go. Mic drop at the end there. Antonio, what was your biggest takeaway from the accelerator last year? If you could kind of come up with one.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really provides an opportunity to, focus and hone what it is that you're trying to accomplish. I think there were several sessions that were incredibly interesting. The session on MVP, on understanding from a business perspective, that you may not have everything figured out, because if you wait until you have everything figured out, you may lose your window of time. So I think it was important, and we lived it. Creating a digital platform in the middle of the pandemic, was everything perfect when we started? No, but we launched anyways, and you figure out how to create a roadmap and create something that's a minimum viable product that you get out in the field, that you start getting your hands dirty, that you get feedback from your stakeholders, understand what's working, understand what's not working, and know that it's okay that you're going to make fixes along the way. But if you wait too long, and if you're too scared to do it, not all of us dance and sing like Chris. So, but if you wait too long, you may miss your window. So I think that was a fantastic piece of the accelerator. And I think that Michael obviously opened our minds up to, these are not only challenges related to in education, these are challenges related to every entrepreneur that's trying to and really think of ourselves like as entrepreneurs, and doing social good by working hard every day,
And Antonio referenced Michael. Michael is Michael Moe of ASU GSV, and he led a lot of the sessions specifically about business and entrepreneurship. And you're right, Antonio, when you go to an education conference or a charter school conference or a private school conference, they might not talk about MVP, right? They might not be talking about finances and key stakeholders. But you all are running a business. It might look differently than a Fortune 500 company, but you have key stakeholders and you have community members that you're serving. And so taking and interweaving those entrepreneurship principles into the work that you're doing, I think really opened up a lot of people's minds. So thank you for sharing that. Chris, building off that, what was your favorite session and why was it your favorite session?
I have like 6 different sessions that I love the most. The field trip to Edmentum, though, that was really cool. I really enjoyed being able to speak with those individuals there and get the little practice with seeing the gentleman give his pitch. And that 3-minute pitch, guys, it's very important, but it's not the end all be all. But really another favorite part, because I told you it wasn't just one, was really hearing the different entrepreneurs come up in the panel and share with us some of their successes, but more importantly, their failures. And that was huge to help me remember that it's not all the time that you're going to win. Even the most successful people that you see, and these guys are successful. Please understand, these aren't just middle of the tier. These are the top tier entrepreneurs coming to talk to you and coming to address you. When you hear their stories of failure, you'll look at them and be like, you failed at that? What? Because where you are today, I can't imagine. So it gives you that encouragement. It gives you that inspiration, that hope to keep pushing forward, even when things aren't going the way you want it to go as an entrepreneur. And that's the key here. Even though you're running a school, don't sell yourself short. You are a business owner. You are changing the trajectory of millions of students across the globe. Even if you have only 50, 100, 200, it doesn't matter. They're impacting their parents and their aunties and their uncles. So the more you have that never give up attitude, and you know that you can strategically strategically plan to put your kids in a better situation to win, that's what I got the most. That was my favorite session. Michael Moe and all of the different entrepreneurs that he really brought to be able to speak to us and give us that inspiration and that encouragement that no matter how many times you fall, you can get back up. And Michael Jordan said it best. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So take this shot because you never know, you might win.
Chris, I forgot to mention that our accelerator last year was our 1 week in person was in Dallas. And Chris mentioned that we went to Edmentum. They also went to the Perot Museum and the Bush Presidential Library. And while our accelerator this year is not going to be in Dallas, we are excited to go to a new city where we'll have opportunities to have field trips, such as the one Chris mentioned, to propel learning, get you all on the grounds, in schools, in places that are doing innovative things. Renee, what was a conversation or a collaboration that you had among the group of semifinalists that kind of stood out to you? So someone you met among the group that, that still sticks with you to this day.
Well, actually, I was impressed I think I got something from everyone. And I really appreciated their determination and their dedication to their students and to the cause of advancing education. So I'm going to say kudos to everyone, and even our distinguished panelists today. And but I do want to say, if I may, question, a guest speaker that really spoke to me was Dr. Michael Sorrell, and he is the president of Paul Quinn College. And he was one of our speakers, and I was able to speak with him afterward. And I even asked him a question during our session. And my curiosity was how to motivate Black males, in particular, academically, the way they're self-propelled and motivated athletically. And he answered that. And one of the things he said was to recognize them for their academic achievements. And so there are ways in which we recognize our children. But after that event, I implemented here at our school a NTCA, or New Testament Christian Academy, academic Olympics, which corresponded with the actual Olympics going on. And the students had certain, I'm going to say, benchmarks or goals that they were to reach. And it was a very rewarding experience when we had our ceremony and we had our medals. And one of the things I just loved from that was the kids just cheered their peers, and as the different names were called up, and it was really an exciting way, I'm going to say, to end the school year. And so that takeaway from Dr. Sorrell, like recognize, and adequately reward the young men, was a wonderful takeaway and inspiring to me.
Renee, without a doubt, he was on my list also. And I thought Michael did an amazing job at figuring out, making some hard choices. And sometimes as an entrepreneur and as an educator, you need to make some hard choices. And he got rid of, or took a part of, the football field at Paul Quinn College, which was like blasphemy, right? What do you mean you're going to get rid of the football field? And built a farm in the middle to address the food desert. That was a huge problem in the community where Paul Quinn was at, and really revolution. It took a brave person, and he talked about talking to his trustees, and they were like, "What are you talking about?" And really understanding what your value, what your mission is, and really going after that at all costs. And I think Michael was also one of my favorites.
And I think far too, as a former teacher, I know, especially during this time of year, it's such a busy time of year. And so what the three semifinalists here are talking about is taking time to pause, right? We're so busy, go, report cards, meeting with your board. And this is a month to just pause and meet with some really fantastic keynotes, get to know each other, and really think through, like, where do I want to be in a year? Where do I want to be in 5 years? Where's my big, audacious, hairy goal that I want to be in 15 years. And this is the time to start working on those plans. So whether it's Renee talking about this Olympics new initiative that she had that really propelled a problem that she was seeing, or another goal, right? This is the time to think through that. Building off that, Chris, I would love to hear from you. I talked a little bit about the Forbes partnership. What opportunities have you seen that you were able to take part in our Forbes partnership, or where have you seen that benefit help with your work at Care Elementary?
Well, one is a square right beside me. Did I point the right way, Antonio? Listen, we've been working together. I do know that I have some visitations planned as well to my fellow alumni, and would like to attend some of the emails that I do get from Forbes. That's really cool, by the way. Just getting an email dropping to you from Forbes, like, hey, you're invited. Like, I feel real special. This is real cool. Also, we've had a few publications out there on our school, which definitely helps with our own marketing, to be able to sell to our donor base and to potential donors. Hey, take us seriously. Forbes did, and you get it. Listen, it's really helpful to be able to piggyback off of this and the STOP Award. I know one of the first things we did, Miss Allen, was we created a brochure that has our school info, and on the back of it is the STOP Award. So when we put it in people's hands, you see that Forbes partnership, you see that Yass Prize partnership there as well. But Mr. Roca beside me, he's getting ready to accept a few of my students, hopefully into his schools. So that partnership is going, and he's helping me also with his network and base of mega talent that he's got and a team that he's got over there as well, because we're a smaller school, and as you can tell, he's a large school helping all over the country, if not the world. So that partnership has been huge too, but haven't physically gotten to go to another Forbes event outside of the under 30, but do plan to, and I'm appreciative of all of the publicized articles that have been put out there by Forbes, as well as the invites that I'm receiving, and being able to use that to catapult our own marketing, to help others recognize the school that we have in Miami and to support it.
Fantastic. I'm going to do one kind of rapid fire question to each of you. So this will be short, sweet, and then we'll get to our question and answer from the audience. So Renee, many future applicants are on this webinar right now. Why should they press submit to their application?
I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit. Would you just repeat that last part of many applicants? What was the last part?
Why should they submit their application?
Oh, I think you should go for it. You should try, because I like what Russell Wilson's dad told him. Why not you? I feel like you should give it your best. It could be you, the $1 million, or you could get $250,000 or $100,000, and just the experience alone is great. So I feel like you should absolutely go for it.
Antonio, kind of a similar question to you. You know, there's so many reasons that people might not be able to apply, right? It's a tricky time of the school year. We're about to get into summer. You know, it takes 4 to 8 hours to complete. Why should people press submit, and why should people apply?
You know, I think it's a fantastic, small, medium, large organization. I think it's a fantastic experience. I participated personally, both virtually and in Dallas. I think some of the relationships that were made, Chris made reference to, we're collaborating, we're working together. In some respects, was better than winning that was the prize to me, is to be able to collaborate and not only with Chris, but with Pat Brantley. I've been talking to Taylor and seeing how we can collaborate and really expand your network of contacts, and take a moment to understand some of the other innovators out there, because sometimes we get into our silo and we're working so hard at what we're doing that don't realize all of the other work. And I think that's what Janine talked about at the Bush Museum when she addressed us. You know, it's like so much good work is being done out there, and if we can harness that and work together, and I think that's one of the best legacies of the STOP are the relationships that are built.
And Chris, you told your story so well in your application, and your pitch was fantastic. As people are working on writing their application, do you have any advice on how to tell their story best?
Yeah, and it kind of goes together with why they should apply. Like, this is the one opportunity and where you get to see how elevated the education profession is. I think a lot of times as educators, we sell ourselves short. When I got to that accelerator, I got to see, wow, this profession is first class. This is something that is set apart. When you see your other colleagues and the different members of the cohort, it's special. When you're writing your sales pitch for the application process, it helps you reflect. It helps you to say, wow, take a step back, like you said, Ms. Allen, and pause and look at the great work that you have done. And the more you start to answer the questions, the more you're going to be inspired from your own writing about your school and the great things that you've done. So be open with yourself, be honest. Don't afraid to think, be one that thinks outside of the box, because that's what's really going to set you apart. There's a question there that I won't reveal the questions on the applications that we did, but it really helped us to reflect. Like, if we could mirror this, for other places, for other people to be able to see and do the things that we're able to do. Listen, we're helping one another in this network. You're going to be able to see and hear from people that are doing things that you're like, wow, I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't even know that was possible. So as you write your application, don't be selfish. Think about how you can help someone else too that may not be doing the things that you're doing, because you're definitely going to get that same help if you are accepted into the accelerator, and you're going to be able to build off of other people's ideas, other people's thoughts, and even other people's suit game, like my man, Mr. Roca over there.
Fantastic. Well, that's a fantastic way, Renee and Chris and Antonio. I'm going to have you stay on in case you can help answer some of these questions. But thank you in advance for your time and your insight. I could share some things, but they all say it so much better because they really benefited from the fruits of the accelerator. So I'm going to start with some of the questions. We have a lot of questions that have come in. Please put your questions in the Q&A portion or the Q&A feature on the Zoom. I see some people putting it in the chat, but in order to just keep track, it's a little bit easier to keep track in the Q&A. So if you did write in the chat, please answer your question in the Q&A. So Katie asked, does the permissionless principle mean that public charter schools are ineligible to apply? Any education provider in the United States are eligible for this award as long as you are currently educating students. So if you plan to open this September, you are not eligible for this year, but any school, charter, public, private, ed tech are eligible to apply. Dr. Lois Void asked, can after school programs or out of school programs apply? And the answer is yes to that as well. The caveat to that is that, most of our semifinalists from last year are educating students like during the crux of the school day, meaning that, 8 to 3 p.m. However, we had like one semifinalist from last year, Rock by Rock, who provided project-based learning kits to homeschool families. And so they weren't the direct education provider, but they provided a critical tool so that homeschool families can access excellent curriculum. And so I would just encourage, if you are an out of school provider or an after school program, really think about how you are using the time that you have with students to transform their experience, as well as possibly expand. Do you want to expand to a micro school, or do you want to start taking in students so that they have access to go to your school for the school day, not just the after school program? So I would think about those two things. Antonio, I'm going to come to you for this one. Is it usually the CEO you recommend attending the 4-week accelerator, or can you bring someone, and who does the pitch?
So yes, so I personally attended, as I mentioned. I did bring somebody that was key to my team to Dallas. And I think that the Yass does allow you to bring one person, maybe even two. I saw some folks brought two. I handled the pitch in my case, but I think that you're open. And I mean, I brought Kevin because I wanted Kevin to have exposure and really elevate the experience for him as well, because I think bringing future leaders in your organization, those that will be taking the mantle, and that I think is important for them to share in that experience.
And just building off that,
And I know that, see, I'm sorry, Caroline, and I know that our schedules sometimes are crazy. So I didn't make every single virtual session, but Kevin and I tag teamed. There was always one of us present. Most of them we were both present, but sometimes when there were outside meetings that I couldn't attend, Kevin would attend in my stead.
Thank you for sharing all of that. And the lead applicant of your application should be like the CEO, the principal, the founder. It's really important. And that's the person who's going to be the through line that will then do the pitch if you get to that round. And then, as Antonio mentioned, you can bring, this year we haven't finalized it, but last year we had some applicants brought up to 2 people, but you didn't have to bring guests if you didn't want to. But if you wanted to bring those, you could have. Okay, so that answers that. Someone asked, can you elaborate on the P and stop? Just to save some time and to focus some of our questions on the accelerator, I'm going to send the Zoom presentation from our last webinar, which really dives deep into that, to the STOP. So if you want to learn more, you can kind of, Zoom along to the P where we talk about that, because permissionless is really important. So I'm happy to share that in the follow-up email. Will there be an opportunity to apply in 2023? We do intend to this be, a yearly process where we start in the beginning of the year, and then we culminate with awarding our awardees by the end of the year. So we have every intention to continue. However, I would encourage you, we have 64 awards this year. So I would encourage you, if you are a viable candidate, meaning that you're educating students now, to consider your application for this year. Okay, let's see. I have time for about 1 or 2 more questions. Are nonprofits that indirectly impact students eligible? This is from Elizabeth. For example, we work with school leaders and teachers on DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging for students and staff. Obviously, really important work. As long as you can directly showcase your impact on students, you are eligible. However, we also, are the education providers that are most eligible are the ones that are directly working with students. However, if you don't directly work with students, just make that connection as clear as you can in your application of how it's impacting the students that your teachers serve. Okay, and one last final question. Let's see. Our model can apply to secondary schools. This is from David, but at the moment we're focusing on 17 to 27-year-olds. Can we apply? So I misspoke earlier. We do accept preschool education providers. That was a change from last year. So pre-K to 12. And as long as they are working towards a high school diploma, that would qualify. But at this time, we don't accept higher education, students working towards higher education, certificate or diploma or credits. So really just focusing on pre-K to 12. So that is all the time I have for questions. However, I have weekly office hours every Wednesday on Zoom from 12 to 12:30 Eastern time. It's an informal way for you to jump on, ask your question. So if I didn't answer it, please hop on tomorrow at 12 o'clock. And that Zoom link, I'll make sure that it's in my follow-up email today. And that happens every Wednesday up until the deadline. And please feel free to reach out via email if you have any other questions. Antonio, Chris, and Renee, thank you so much. I hope that all of our applicants and semifinalists get to meet you all in a location that's to be determined for our next accelerator. And best of luck with the end of the school year for everyone. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you, everyone.
See you, Renee, Chris.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Miss Allen.
Of course. Thank you, Chris. Best of luck with the end of the school year.
Yeah, did you guys get the video I sent you?
Oh my gosh, we posted it? Did you see it posted?
No.
Okay,
I didn't hear nothing back about it.
oh
I
my
don't know
goodness,
if you liked it, if you didn't like it, I don't know.
we liked it so much that we automatically like posted it everywhere. It was fantastic. It had
Where
me
can I
laughing.
find it?
It should be on our Twitter and Instagram. I'll have Rachel Kennedy, who's our social media guru, tag you. It should have been tagged, but I'll make sure. It was fantastic. So thank you so much for taking the time to do that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll go on the Stop Award. The Stop Award IG?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't
Yeah.
see it.
It should be there. If not, I'll get on our team. But yeah, we received a couple, and we're going to be
Okay.
publishing them, in the upcoming days. But
Yeah.
thank you so much for taking the time, and tell the students thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, nice event also. You guys have a great day. Have a good summer.
Thank you. You too. Talk to you soon.
Bye now.
Bye.
Thank you.